Tonight I'm going to give you the overview. So buckle your seatbelts. Let's see if I remember. Oh, just the arrow button. Okay, here we are. Nope, that didn't work. Oh yeah. What is the Consumer Assistance Program? We call it CAP. CAP is the coolest. Everyone has a CAP, every state, but only Vermont's is located at a university. So our Consumer Assistance Program is literally at UVM. And when you call, who here has ever called CAP or the Attorney General's office about a consumer concern or to make a scam report? Okay, I'm seeing some hands, right? I've never not had someone raise their hand. So we know that a lot of people, thousands every year, call the Consumer Assistance Program. The person who gets back to you, either on the phone or by email, could very well be a student. And it's amazing because the students now, they're very afraid to answer the phone. They don't have a phone at their house. You know, they text people. And so we have to do a whole class on how to answer the phone. Dead serious. Someone goes into another room and they pretend to be the caller and that's like, just say hello, Consumer Assistance Program. So they're great. And we teach them about all the consumer issues and then they go out into the world and they're like little lieutenants fighting for consumer rights. I forget to mention this, but it is critical to remember it's free. You just call us and we will help. We're going to learn all about CAP as we go through this. We primarily, there's a few buckets of stuff we do. The kind of meat and potatoes of CAP is what we call letter mediation. It looks like this. A consumer will call and say, I bought this blender and it doesn't work, and they won't take it back. And we will send that complaint to blendersthatdon'twork.com, whatever, and they will write back and say, oh no, this was a misunderstanding, or oh, you got us, here's your $75 back. And that's like a perfect scenario. Not all, it doesn't work like a charm every time, but over half, I think, of the complaints that we get are resolved favorably. Chris, do you think that's accurate? Still?
It's probably about 40%.
Okay, 40%.
These are disputes between parties.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on and
get everybody on their way. So we also have businesses who just ignore us. We try to send everything on the scary Attorney General office letterhead that seems to spook people into responding. We also do a lot of education and outreach. That's part of what we're doing here tonight, to teach you about what we do and how to protect yourself from scams. And we also have the Small Business Initiative. This is a shocker because Vermont is either one of two or the only state where businesses themselves are protected by our Consumer Protection Act. Normally it's just an individual, not a business at all. As we know in Vermont, so many of our businesses are very, very small businesses. Businesses in Vermont are protected. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are selling stuff and something goes awry, that stuff you're selling is not necessarily what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, say you own a car wash, and while you wait for your car to be washed, this is not a good example, an oil change place. Okay, you're waiting for your oil to be changed in the waiting room, and there's coffee there, and there's a bathroom you can use. Well, I own this place, and I want you to have good coffee. So I order the coffee for my waiting room, it arrives, and it's decaf. And I'm like, is this even for real? Like, no way. I can't serve decaf in my waiting room, and they won't take it back. That's what I'm talking about. You can call the Consumer Assistance Program. We have a small business advocate who will help and talk you through that. And that's just a little example. But if you are a small business or have a friend, family member with a small business, and they have a kind of consumer concern, we have someone who has a lot of specialization. We also have a home improvement specialist. And home improvement, we're going to get into this, but that is a complaint that we see very often because, of course, it's so expensive. Something goes awry and it's a deck, it's thousands of dollars. We have a wonderful worker who has been both a contractor and a paralegal, so he's very knowledgeable about this, and he has been absolutely wonderful. So those are just some resources available. And this is some statistics about our program outcomes. We've recovered over $2 million for consumers. That's literally money going back to consumers in their pockets through this work. We processed over 1,000 complaints, and we made over 8,000 constituent contacts. So it's a lot. Here are our common complaints areas. Everyone loves like a top 5 list or top 10 list. So here's yours. Motorized vehicles is always number one, and that is because they are so darn expensive. So if something goes wrong, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money. You're not just going to think to yourself, yeah, it was $25. I'm annoyed, but it's not worth my follow-up. no, you make the call. Home improvement is a similar category. And then we get into the sort of retail grab bag of various and sundry retail problems. I always use the blender example because I think that is the most relatable to all of us. Fuel is a really, I want to emphasize fuel. We in Vermont have special propane rules that apply to us, and they're really critical because, as we know, a lot of folks who are on propane are in rural areas. There's no second option. You know, they rely on propane to heat their homes. And when we get a propane complaint, literally someone is assigned, it's you today, and that person stays on the phone and works the numbers, calls all the people to get the fuel restored. We have very protective laws, it's really a rule, but basically a law for consumers when it comes to propane. So if you know someone who, I'll give you an example that I think is really powerful. If you're in arrears with your propane bill and you have run out of fuel and it's January and you're thinking, I'm gonna freeze to death, the fuel company literally has to bring you propane as long as you can give them cash in the driveway. So even though you already owe them $200, they can be mad at you, but they're bringing you the fuel, and you're not going to freeze to death. I can tell I'm going way. I'm never going to cover all these slides, so I'm gonna put it in speed drive. Okay, scam trends. We're here to talk about scams, not complaints. Okay, please, if you get scammed, not if you get scammed, if someone tries to scam you and you're like laughing to yourself, like that was really ineffective. You used an area code from the Philippines. I know you're not the DMV. Please make the report to the Consumer Assistance Program. If we get a few, like, you know, Chris will call me and say, hey, we just got 5 scam reports for a fuel disconnection notice or sheriff scam or something. That tells us they're making a sweep in Vermont right now. And we will put together a scam alert. People have signed up to get a notice so that they'll be notified right away, either by text, email. I'll use my voice so that you know it's me. AI has made that tricky. But we want to make sure that folks get the word on scams. Scams are very hard to shut down. They're largely overseas. And we rejoice if we find a scammer. I have so many good stories I can't tell you because we don't have time. We just shut down, like Chris's team did an unbelievable job. We literally, like, because of good timing and good work, like caught a scammer, like basically in the act, and got this lady's money back. Scams are crimes. That's the thing you have to remember. We were just talking about the do not call list. Do not call list is effective for legitimate companies, but if you're a criminal, you don't care. You're not following any of the laws. They're just trying to steal your money. Here is what there's a few things that make someone susceptible to scams. Oh God, now I really messed it up. Am I allowed to take this off?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay, all right, much better. Scams, the thing that you always hear about people who are scammed is they can't believe they fell for it. Like, it's so obvious to me now. And the reason why is because when someone is being scammed, there's always this element of emotions, right? They're trying to either scare you, like the sheriff's coming to arrest you, or they're getting you excited. You won the sweepstakes. A package is coming. Ooh, who sent me a package? You're like in your feels, and that you're scared, like, oh, your nephew got in a car accident in Jamaica. You have to wire him money. So you're already in this emotional place. You're not thinking, you're feeling. So there's this formula that I always say to follow. If your emotions are spiked, if someone wants your money, but you can't verify they are who they say they are, and there's some sense of urgency, big red flag. There's like a moment where you just have to, we say slow down, just stop and be like, wait a minute. If it's a reasonable hour, you can call CAP and we'll pick up the phone or get back to you and walk you through it. Always feel like you can just say, I'm going to call you back. What's your phone number? You know, just take a moment. Nothing is ever so urgent that you can't just take a moment. And if you can't reach us because it's 7 p.m. and we're not there, call a friend, call somebody in this room because they heard the talk to, and just say, am I losing it? Is this a scam? And remember, I know it can be hard to remember in the moment, but that's kind of our magical formula. This is we always do a pie chart because it's colorful and we find the media loves to cover this. Can you see how our top 10 scams has one pie in the pie chart that's gigantic? It's the computer tech support scam. It's so effective, right? Do you guys have a place where you can physically go in Rutland County and bring your laptop? If it's broken, you can go somewhere. That's what I do. I'm too scared now because of the tech support scam. I'll go to bestbuy.com or whatever, and they're like, do you want us to remote into your computer? And I'm like, I do not. And that is how they steal your money. That's the most effective thing. They'll say, oh, you have a virus. It's a pop-up or an email or something. Don't worry. Let me remotely access your computer and I will fix it for you. No, that's not what they're going to do. Instead, they're going to steal your money. They're going to get on your web browser and find your bank account and everything, and it's absolutely horrifying. So that's the one to watch out for. That's always our number one. And we have a general identity theft. Luckily, probably some of you are from Danby. It doesn't work for people who are from Danby. Good news there. The law enforcement imposter scam, well, that's effective because it's scary. No one wants to get arrested, right? But just remember, law enforcement, they like the element of surprise. If they're coming to arrest you, they're going to go to your house. They don't want to call you and give you the warning, right? And they're certainly not going to arrest you over $100. So don't freak out if you get that one. Medicare card phishing, we might have a slide in this, but I'm going to jump ahead to talk about this. Some people think that seniors, that Vermont elders, are the most vulnerable to scams, but that's not true. It's young people, obviously. They haven't lived. They don't know a lot. They haven't been burned before like us. They're the ones who are most susceptible to be scammed. But guess what else? They have no money. No one wants to scam them. It's like, cool. Now I have 75 cents. No. They're going after older people because older people have had a lifetime to accumulate wealth. So the Medicare card phishing scam reminded me to tell you that. Phishing scams, to be clear, in case you don't know, that is when someone is trying to get your information, not necessarily your actual money. They're going to take your information, like your social security card number, and they're going to open a fake bank account. They're going to file your tax return for you and try to get your return. So that's something to keep in mind. I feel like we're almost out of time, and I'm like on slide 11 out of 25. So spotting scams. We're gonna have a little list of, this is what scammers will say. We've heard it all. So here's some things that we've heard scammers say. There's all this urgency. Don't hang up. Don't trust anyone. Don't tell anyone. Right? You're gonna be arrested. The being arrested thing is very effective. Okay. How do scammers steal your money? You're obviously not writing them a check, right? That's not how scammers, they want non-traceable stuff. Cash probably used to be popular before the internet, but now there's so many great ways to steal your money. Gift cards, like Visa gift card, you can like get someone one, they get married and like here's cash, but it's like a little classier than cash, it's a gift card. Yeah, those are for gifts. If someone says pay me in gift cards, what? No, they're just Venmo you, right? That's crazy. Put it on your credit card. No, gift cards are for gifts. We jokingly say we're going to make mugs that say that at the Consumer Assistance Program because it's just gold, right? Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, a criminal's dream come true. In fact, I think once we looked at like the top 10 scams with losses, we call those the scams where people actually lost money, and like 7 out of 10 of them were involved crypto. Crypto is basically like cash. You can't trace it, it's gone. It's really dangerous. Don't pay people you don't know in crypto. The other one is wiring money. You can sometimes stop that. And our favorite way to buy things at the Consumer Assistance Program is with credit cards, because credit cards have built-in consumer protections. So please pay with credit cards if you can. Here are some prevention strategies. Number one is to get your credit report. We all should be checking our credit report from all three agencies would be great. And you can go to the annualcreditreport.com and start there. Now, am I checking my credit report every year? I am not. I am giving this talk and I'm still not. So if you're like me, don't feel bad, but we really should be doing that. That's a way to keep on top of who might be stealing our identity. And a little reminder, Chris and I went through this together. Remember the Equifax breach? When was that, like 2017 or something? 2018? It was a nightmare. Well, half of the people in this room had their social security number taken in that. So just remember, unfortunately, there's been enough breaches where we all really should be checking our credit report every year. The Do Not Call registry is a good step, but like I said, it doesn't always stop criminals. We would also recommend checking, the FTC has great resources, and we get identity theft information and tips from them ourselves. They're excellent. So if you're really into this, FTC is a great place. I mentioned our scam alert system. You can always sign up for that. You can either talk to Chris or you can call the Consumer Assistance Program to figure out how to do that or find it on our website. And the AARP Fraud Watch is awesome. We do stuff with them all the time. Has anyone been to any scam jams or AARP events? Because they're really fun. I know they're literally called scam jams, and they're really into it. They have like their little they have little like outfits. They're so into fighting scams. It's really great. I know, I love it. Okay, here are some specific scams that we always try to fight against. So imposter scams are really effective. Fake sheriff, fake grandkid, romance scams, right? There's someone pretending to be someone they're not. So when the family imposter scam comes up, it's good to have a family password. So if your nephew is, my example, he's studying abroad in Jamaica, in my imagination, he's studying abroad in Jamaica, get a password before he leaves, right? He's not going to call you in the middle of the night and say he was in a car accident, he needs you to wire money. You're going to say, what's the password? And it's going to be like, some obscure dog that you had one year or something. Government impersonation, the IRS scam always cracked me up. Like, the IRS doesn't even pick up their phone. You think they're going to call you? They don't have time. So that one was hot for a while, but it's really gone now. Tech support, a nightmare. That's the one I would fall for. We already talked about that one. Romance or relationship, if they can't meet in person and they're always having some calamity and needing money from you, this is probably a scam. And then investment schemes, you can look up if someone's legitimate easy enough, right? Are they on the list? Not do they have a website, it's probably a fake website, but you can look them up to make sure that they're licensed and stuff. So number one way to fight scams is don't pick up your phone. I know that's hard, just let it go to voicemail, right? And then see what happens. Just don't pick it up. If you don't know the number, don't pick it up. Sometimes it's a fake number. Sometimes they use a technology to mirror your own number. That is so tempting. Don't pick that one up either. Once they know you pick up the phone, you're on their list. Haven't fallen for it yet, but I think maybe we're going to get her eventually. There is, you can buy an add-on device for does anyone know what POTS stands for?
Plain old telephone.
Plain old telephone service, yes. You can, if you don't have one already, you can get an aftermarket device so that you have caller ID and you have a little more information when someone's calling you. You can also block illegal callers, and cell phones I feel like are getting so much better than they used to be. I have a VoIP phone, and so far I don't think I've gotten one scam on it, so that's a good sign. Things are looking up on the telephone. Yes, when it comes to emails, move the obvious scams to junk. That trains your account to know in the future, hopefully they'll keep doing that as well. Always verify the sender information. Like, look at the actual email address, because they'll misspell something, or they'll spell apple with with 3 P's instead of 2. And if you look carefully, you're like, aha, it's a scam, because they're trying to trick you. And ignore links and attachments. Don't click on links. It could be a link to let them remotely access your computer for all you know. So if you don't know the business and you can't verify, don't click on it. Now, this probably used to, 30 years ago, the Consumer Assistance Program has been around for over 40 years, and probably a scam talk would involve a lot of talking about snail mail, because the internet wasn't really invented yet. And so here's some tips in case you get scam mail. This is a lot slower pace, so I feel like it's easier to take your time and assess. You can write the fraud on the envelope and return it to the postal carrier so that they know these are coming through and they're fraudulent. You can verify the contact information. Another good just general rule is if you're not really sure if something's legitimate, find the contact information yourself. Go on and Google it. Look in the old-fashioned phone book. Find it yourself, and then this is the correct number, not the number that this person told me. It said they were this other person. And then be really suspicious of mail that doesn't have a stamp or return address or just looks different. Scams online. Scams online, that's my current passion, because I'm really worried that AI is going to destabilize the online economy, because we've seen what happened with like robocalls and telephones, and it scares me that AI is going to do that. We're not going to be able to trust anything online. So make sure that the website you're using is legitimate and not either fake or trying to spoof another website. You can look, obviously, for the business history. You could call the Consumer Assistance Program and say, do you have any complaints on this website? I want to buy something, but I'm not really sure if they're legitimate or not. And remember, when you use a peer-to-peer purchasing place, if you are there's safety measures that you should be putting in place. I think that you can probably, you all look like sensible people and you're gonna use those that are listed. Okay, here we go. Unexpected, urgent, unsettling, unfamiliar, and your emotions are spiked. When all the things I described, you're gonna slow down, take steps to verify, and then get community support. Those are the steps we always like. Take a breath, slow down, take steps to verify. You can call us, and then phone a friend. We're there. So that's your technique. What if a scam occurs? Oh, this is so hard because they occur all of the time. Number one is please don't feel, yes, these are the actual steps. Before you get to step one, be brave. If you're embarrassed, just call us. We deal with this constantly. Like, this is what we do all day long, so we do not feel any embarrassment. We've seen literally it all. So please, step one. After that, immediately contact the financial institution's fraud department. So is it your credit card? Is it your bank? Contact them immediately because we're going to try really hard to stop the scam from being effective, right? Step two, call or go on ic3.gov, the FBI's Internet Crimes Complaint Center. You can call CAP, right? We're right here to walk you through this. If you feel that there has been a phishing attempt with your personal information, you can go to identitytheft.gov and they will create like a little plan for you. So you probably have a sense of loss of like, I can't believe I fell for this. I think that not only is that actually helpful, I think it's emotionally helpful to feel like, okay, I'm gonna do the steps that I made on identitytheft.gov, and at least you're trying to take those steps to get yourself protected. And there are things you can do. So don't ignore it if you feel that information has been stolen from you about yourself that could jeopardize you for an identity theft. Always involve like a friend or someone, because it's just going to make it so much better. And I think it's sort of stabilizing. You guys can laugh about it someday, hopefully. It's really hard when you lose a lot of money, and we've seen people lose a ton, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's heartbreaking. But you can always call us or go to our website. It's listed here, ago.vermont.gov/cap. These are in Vermont, we've separated some of the roles, and the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation actually has their own little consumer complaint, that's not complaint, but a consumer center to help as well for financial institutions. You could contact your local law enforcement, that's an option, and then the United Way